Everybody, welcome to the Hang Time Podcast. Got a banger episode with myself, Grayson, and my favorite moviegoer, Diction. We're going to be talking all about Halloween Ends, which is absolutely a boilerplate topic that we're going to talk about. I will encourage you guys to support the show with a super thanks down below. You can just click that little money symbol. The podcast usually makes about $5 or $6 per episode. So if you guys enjoyed this hour of content, please throw down the monies for the insane validation we're going to give you with Halloween Kills, and make sure and check out Diction on twitch.tv/Diction and anything else Diction that you want me to send them to.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, my Twitter's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know.
You got it.
I got some spicy retweets on there, you know.
All right. So with that, let's just dive right in. This is going to be a quick, efficient episode, but Halloween Kills came out.
God, boy, did it come out.
Yeah. Oh, it did. It did.
It came out very strongly. So it's hard to even really think about how we're going to structure this conversation. I did not take notes. I watched it as soon as I got home from a marathon, or from the PETA Scare stream. We went home. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I told Chelsea, I go, hey, you want to watch this? Because my history with Halloween is I used to watch them when I was a kid. I was furious when 2019 came out because I loved the movie, and I hated the ending. I absolutely could not believe that Laurie would leave a house especially after watching her be so badass and so hateful for 2 hours. I could not imagine she would not watch Michael do anything but to get chopped into little pieces or watch him get shot in the face 800 times. I was very, very angry.
You're talking about Kills, not 28 for the 28.
No, he's talking about 2018 leading into Kills.
Yeah, just leading into Kills. I was very mad that she just leaves him and assumes that he's going to die, especially with her trauma and stuff.
Right.
So I had very low expectations for Halloween Kills, and because Grayson explained that originally they were going to have them both die.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to fight to the death.
That would have been a pretty poetic ending if they both went down.
It would have been.
And maybe there was a moment where she could finally accept her trauma and move past it before she ends up dying, or something. You know, something for the audience, so it's not so depressing. You know.
But you gotta get that money.
Yeah, you gotta get that. You gotta feed baby Jordan Blumhouse over there. You know.
Yeah. So ultimately, it was. You know, Grayson explained that to me, and I was like. Jason Blumhouse.
Blum boy, that guy.
But ultimately, I understood that it's cool. They need sequels, right?
Yeah.
And we all know Halloween Kills was rough, and so after being very upset about that, both Grayson and I kind of had really low expectation going into Halloween Ends. What were you thinking was going to happen, Diction, whenever we going into this thing?
Not what the hell they fucking wrote. That was certainly not. I guess one bonus, one positive thing is I wasn't expecting that storyline to happen. So I guess I was surprised. Not surprised in a good way though. I don't know. For the whole year since Halloween Kills, I've been saying hey, they have a shot to stick the landing. I didn't like Kills. It was silly and it was ridiculous and it was just really laughable. But they got another shot. They could possibly hit this one home, and then they didn't. No, they did not. Actually, my the best way I could describe how I feel about Ends is that Halloween Kills, for all of its problems, feels more like an ending movie, like a finale. It's bigger. The whole town starts mobbing up. You know, they all fucking take a swing at him. You know, it feels like that's how it should have ended. But then they're well, we got to do another one for some reason. I don't know why, because if you take it as the chronology, so there's Halloween 1970, whatever, then Halloween 2018, then Halloween Kills, that would be 3 movies. You could just have a full trilogy right there. But they got greedy and they had to, I don't know, have their cake and eat it too, I guess.
It's weird for me, Diction. I don't know if you know this about me. I am a hardcore Halloween fan.
Gotcha.
Watch them all religiously every year in October. I go through every movie. Can't stand the Rob Zombie movies. I still watch them because it's got Michael in them. I obsess over these movies. So going into this one, I honestly, I didn't go into it thinking it was going to be bad. I had a feeling that it could be, but I was like, I need to go into it with an open mind because I went into Halloween Kills expecting it to be banging, and it disappointed me. You know, all the characters were stupid. Town was stupid. It was just bad.
Evil
Michael was
dies
cool.
tonight.
Exactly.
Evil dies tonight.
But,
also,
like-
it's mean. It's mean to the most marginalized people.
Yeah.
Like it's hey, here's an intellectually disabled person. Let's lynch him.
Yeah.
And then it's like the movie does it in like a really mean,
Yeah, it
like
Yeah.
kind of glorifies the town rather than punishes them
Well,
for being.
And then they try to like in this one in the beginning they try to like make up for that, kind of like how they tried to make up for Superman snapping Zog's neck and Man of
Yeah.
Steel. You know,
But
they're
at
like,
least
no,
that's
look,
cool.
everyone's depressed and they're killing themselves because of like what Michael made them do. And it's like, okay, I think I have a note here. Michael killing a couple of folks made people suicidal all over town. That was my second note. My first note was poor ugly ass boy babysitter. I felt bad for him, and then by the end of the movie, I hated him and I wanted him gone.
Diction, my first note is, how did this little kid create such an intricate plan, like a plan? How did he create that plan? And how did he, like, he was opening up multiple doors. He was running up different stories. He was tricking them by yelling. Like, how did this little boy, who's supposed to be scared and wetting the bed and terrified, by the way, create such a huge and diverse plan to pull on Corey? Like, whatever. I digress. I digress. Back to where we were.
Logic isn't exactly the strong point of these movies.
It's not. It was hard because after, I don't know if y'all were the same way, but when the movie started, and spoilers, which of course I expect if anybody comes in this,
it's a spoiler review.
It's a
Yeah.
spoiler review, just in
You
case
can watch
people
it
say,
on
"Oh, you didn't say
Peacock
it
right now, so
Yeah.
it's like it's not hard to watch the movie.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the theater if you don't want to.
But I don't know if it was just me, but as soon as the storyline starts with Corey and that little kid dies, I was like, this is going to go badly. Very, very quick.
That was like the highlight of the movie was that kid falling and like folding in half. I was like, oh wow, that was pretty cool. And then it never hit that high ever again. Like
I think maybe just for organization purposes, how about we just kind of walk through like a summation of the movie?
Sure.
If you guys have notes, we'll kind of just walk through. So the movie begins. Obviously, Corey is a new entity of evil. He gets accused of killing this kid because he kills a kid.
We never really find out if he did it though. It's always.
I mean,
it could have been an
kicked the door.
accident.
Yeah, he kicked the door and the
Yeah.
kid fell off the balcony. Is
Right.
basically what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an
So-
it was an accident.
Yeah, it
and then-
was.
But then it led to him being influenced by the evil that is Michael Myers, essentially.
But clearly the movie wants us to feel bad for Corey. Like,
Yeah.
the movie is like, okay, Corey accidentally killed this kid, and now the town hates him, and he's being bullied by band kids.
By kids that are like 5 years younger than him. It's like, dude, stand up for yourself. You can just kind of like grab their faces and push them away, you know? Like, they're smaller than you.
So it's already hard to watch because I know Grayson hates Zombies Halloween because it's, hey, anybody that's a victim becomes evil.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what the message is. And so it's really hard for me to watch. And I'm watching the whole thing through, what's Grayson going to think of this? What's Grayson going to think of
Yeah,
this?
a lot of
whole
people
movie.
did. Like,
Yeah. Chelsea and me are just like, the second the kid dies, Chelsea's like, Grayson's going to hate this. And I'm like, I know.
yeah,
And we're watching it, right? Not to mock Grayson, but it's a fun lens to watch it through the idea of like, is Grayson gonna like this?
Right,
Is
yeah.
But it is like from the outset, you're watching Corey, and we cut to Allison and Lori. Allison has lost her mother, who whenever her mom died in Halloween Kills, I was like so happy. I was like, die, you fucking idiot. Die, idiot. Like, die, stupid.
I was just like, I hated that like Judy Greer gets like typecast as the mother character in every movie. And it was like, oh, they're doing it again to her. They're making her the mother character that's kind of annoying, and then they killed her. But thankfully, she's on a show on Hulu called Reboot, and she's actually she's like the highlight of the show. So I'm very happy to see her finally getting a role to chew on, and that's like, oh, here she is. There's the middle-aged wife, mother character again. But
Just
also, can we talk
making-
about how Lori seems like completely different in this movie. Like she's been, her
yes,
personality is like a 180.
Thank you. That's
Like Oliver's trauma has been cured somehow, even though she should have more trauma because her daughter died. Like,
Yep.
that
Diction,
should be even more like weight on her shoulders. But she seems like she's like happy. She's cooking in every scene. You know, like I don't know, man. She cut her hair and dyed it blonde. I don't fucking know what's going on.
the thing that made me mad is after all the stuff happens with Corey, it goes into this monologue to where I guess she's reading out her book, if I remember.
She's
correctly.
writing a book, and it's the worst writing I've ever heard in my life.
But she talks about the town. She talks about how the town is basically like imploding, and there's people dying, and there's a sickness going around the town, and there's all these people that are just infected by the evil that Michael brought into the town. But as soon as she gets done with that, she immediately goes into, I bought a house. And I decided to just pass all that. I decided to give up on all that and just try to be happy. So in my head, whenever I hear that, I'm like, okay, so kills doesn't matter at all. Like
that's what it felt like. It was like a footnote. It wasn't even a chapter anymore.
It doesn't matter. Like you don't care that your daughter died. You don't care that one of the kids you babysitted died. You don't care that like 25 people died in this last movie. You have no care of whatsoever. You're just willing to be like, I'm going to put it
not
behind
that it's her fault or anything.
It's not at all. At all. Which we'll get into that later,
she experienced it, you know?
Yeah. But it's such a weird turn with her character to where, like, it's cool to see her be like, okay, this is probably how she would have been, you know, had all the events not happened. She would have been happy. She would have been, you know, bubbly and stuff like that. That's cool. It's cool to see Jamie Lee Curtis have fun as Laurie again. I will say that. But it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Like at all.
And then you have Allison, who's also virtually unaffected by her mom's trauma, and as we've just discussed, it's like kills does not matter. So Corey kills a kid. He has some bad trauma. He's getting picked on. And immediately, Laurie tries to set Corey up with Allison. And Allison is so incredibly thirsty.
She just falls immediately in love with him for no reason. First of all, he has the personality of a doormat. Like, aside from the only interesting thing that's ever happened, which is he murdered a kid. Like what else can he say? What can he talk about? Carburetors and how to change your tire? That's it. That's all he knows.
He's
boring.
It's very odd on how much they change her character up in this, too, because she goes from kind of she's pretty badass at the end of Kills. Like she's holding her own against Michael at the end of that film. Yeah. To just being a very, very oddly written character.
An idiot. She turns into an idiot.
She is. She is.
She's a full-blown moron.
It's such a forced romance in the movie to try to get people to feel more about Corey that
and then to save everyone 50 minutes of their time. Most of the movie is her relationship with Corey and how she doesn't know that he's a serial killer, basically.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Is like, oh no, Allison, watch out, you're dating the wrong guy. And it's like, it's such a tired trope, man. I hated it.
Well, they basically they turn Laurie into Dr. Sartain from 2018 because Dr. Sartain brings Michael to Laurie. Now Laurie is bringing the new Michael to her granddaughter. So
and it aches so much because it would be different if he was charming and if he wasn't confusing and if he was handsome or
he didn't even have to be handsome. I'm fine with him looking like a weird Caleb Landry Jones type character. That's fine. But he has no personality.
Not handsome. I mean attractive. A charming aura that would have appealed to Allison, whose mother has died, and she's terrified of a resurgence of a serial killer. And so the fact that it feels so forced is so confusing and jarring because it is about their romance for the mid 40 minutes of the film. Yeah. So with Corey getting bullied, we're already pissed off, and he finds Michael in the sewers of Haddonfield. So with everything that happens with Halloween Kills, which I'm pissed off about because Michael gets shot 37 times and people leave him for living. People live him. This is 4 years after Kills.
Yep.
And he's just been living in the sewers assumedly eating trash or something to stay alive.
Or dogs or rats or whatever.
And his head is singed to his shoulder for like the beginning of it. It looked like because he got burned alive or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just seems like they're really because like the thing that made the 2018 Halloween so like fun was that they ditched all the supernatural nonsense that came after the first Halloween movie, and they're like, no, he's a man and he's a psychopath. He's a man and a psychopath, but he's ungodly strong and like hard to kill. But he's still a man. Yep. And then now they're like really shoehorning in this supernatural stuff, like he's some sort of godlike character that like his evil infects the world and stuff, and like he can't die. Like you try to kill him and you can't do it. And I don't know. I did have a lot of notes about their little buddy like relationship. There was that bit where they were wrestling. And I forget what I wrote. What did I wrote? I was like, oh, look at this fun little wrestling moment between Corey and Michael.
We will definitely spend a lot of time. We will definitely spend a lot of time on the mask, but let's get there first. I like how we're going. So, first off, it's like cool. Michael just lives in a sewer with 17 gunshot wounds. Did he go to the hospital and then go to live in the sewer?
I mean, he could easily take off his mask, go to the hospital, get some care. No one would know it was him, and then like vanish.
Well, I think after that they would, because they were running. You see, this is the thing in Halloween Kills. They do show Michael and the guy that jumps off of or out the window. So eventually, I'm assuming at some point in time, somebody would put two and two together and be like, ooh, we messed up in the town. Like I would assume that would happen, but I could be completely wrong.
Yeah. So I'm disturbed by the fact that like he's in the sewer that should be infected in a heartbeat. But the confusing thing about Corey to me is the fact that the audience they made the movie, at least that opening scene where it's like, oh man, poor Corey. He's exiled from the town because people think he's a murderer.
Yeah.
And there's no evidence that this is an evil person.
He just kind of goes from being like, he's clearly very sorry for what happened, and he's like, he feels awful about it. And then as soon as he meets Michael, it's like, I don't know, like, I felt like there was a moment where they just stare at each other in the sewer, and it was like, there probably was some sound effect they cut out that was like telepathic, Dark City type vibes of like things like, now you're evil, Corey.
It's the transformation of evil is basically what they were trying to.
But he just like, it's a really weird transition that doesn't make sense, where he just goes from being this victim and this like sad character to like, oh, I guess I feel like killing people now. Well, and then he just does. He just starts killing people.
They talk a little bit about it. Like Lori brings up the fact that she saw the same evil in his eyes that she saw.
Yeah, the guy was like that. Those are the eyes of someone different. That wasn't the babysitter that killed my son or whatever.
Exactly.
That was a fun scene. I think I wrote a note about that weird interview scene in the bar where he's playing pool. And I was like, this is really strangely written. Like, why is this guy, this dude whose son died, just casually like, oh yeah, Corey. I remember Corey. Like it's a Law and Order episode. He should be carrying boxes and putting him in the back of a truck for the lawyers.
Yeah. But it is like that bar scene. Even that bar scene, it's like, cool. I get it. The town hates him. I do feel worse for this character.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me even more information that I'm on this guy's side and he's not evil. He's really remorseful. Thank you for even more and more. And then, with he comes out of the hole and he kills the homeless man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was almost like the homeless man was trying to hurt him as well, because he did pull the knife on him. So there's like that struggle there. It was very weird. And
yeah,
I don't know what that was all about. It was just very weird.
Yeah. I mean, even like a hint that Corey was like killing kittens or something on the side would have been anything to give me a hint of what was happening.
I mean, that's just that's the main the main problem that people have with Rob Zombies, is that they went for that stereotypical why he's insane. So
yeah, but at least it was something in between being full on psycho. So we are already 40 minutes into the movie.
Yep.
Right. Like we're in the middle of Act 2.
Oh, how many times have we seen Michael up to this point?
Well, just the once.
Yeah.
But I would say that him killing the hobo is the end of Act 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that felt like a chapter transition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we haven't seen Michael. We know that Michael is a shell of his former self, kind of wandering around in the sewers and shit. And we're in Act 2, which honestly just flies by at such a ridiculous pace because it feels just like a bunch of nonsense. It's a lot of like a bunch of romantic montages.
Yeah,
and
the bar scene where they're dancing and
that goes
he's
on,
like
for
on the
way
floor.
too long.
Way too long. Also, I made a weird note that was really this is more like a I don't know what complaint this is, but like
any notes you have,
yeah,
just
there's
read 'em out.
so Lori flirts with the cop at the grocery store, and
Yep.
then when she walks out, immediately gets confronted by the sister of the woman from the second movie that got
that
maimed.
somehow lives.
And Liz like, what? She waiting there to like accost her? Like she was waiting for Lori. Like, what are you smiling about? You have a good time shopping? My sister can't talk anymore because of you. And then like that happened. And then not like 3 scenes later, the bar scene. Corey goes up after dancing to get a drink, and who is sitting right there? The mother of the son that he murdered. And she accosts him too. I'm like, how are these people conveniently there to like confront these people at these moments that are? It's built for the audience. It's not built for the story. It felt so forced, man.
That's like 3 of my notes. One of my main notes in this movie was it's really hard for me to believe that the town would blame Lori for Michael doing what he did.
Yeah, especially
like,
when they made it really clear in the first, or I guess second Halloween movie, 2018, that Lori was just another babysitter to Michael. That he meant nothing to her.
It didn't mean anything. He was just, it's just like a game to him. Like it didn't mean anything. So to me, seeing that scene makes no sense of whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like she has no reason to blame Lori other than the fact that they live by each other.
Yeah.
It's the only explanation. So it was just very odd and very off-putting as well. It's just, I don't know what they were doing there.
Yeah. The idea that Michael is infecting, it kind of just like it just kind of creeps into the movie, right? And it's just there. So while I'm watching, Chelsea and I just keep thinking, I'm thinking to myself, I can't believe this is a movie. This is I can't believe this is an actual movie. I keep thinking, okay, there's a dream. It's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dream. It's a dream sequence. I must be hallucinating. It's not. I'm just in such disbelief. I'm thinking, how did this get made? How did like what are the variables here that make Gordon Green write this script? Like what happened?
I don't know, because I'm a fan of his. I've watched a lot of his older movies, and he's really talented at making believable characters that feel lived in the worlds they're in. Like at least before Pineapple Express, when he started to get a little more ridiculous, which is like I don't have a problem with that or anything. But like Snow Angels and George Washington, his early movies, he was very good at like capturing these actors and making them feel authentic. And then now we're flash forward 20 years later, and it just feels so scripted and so like we have to write these characters because blank, and it never works. It doesn't work the way it should work.
I feel like what ended up happening with him is that he's such a big fan of Halloween that he tried to put a lot of the movies that got retconned. He tried to like reference a lot of them and put things in from a lot of them to kind of like please everybody, and it didn't work. Like it struggled because the whole infected thing, it's almost like they did with Jamie in Halloween 4 and 5 mixed with like the cult that he's in, like the transformation of evil going from person to person. So it feels like they're really trying to put that in and try to meld a new story into it to kind of appease all Halloween fans. So it just didn't work at all.
Yeah.
I thought the whole idea of doing this requel thing was to avoid the traps that they fell into with those other movies in the 90s and stuff.
I could be completely wrong though. It could just be like that's just what sounded good. That's just. What
there's always the possibility that Jason Blum. I know he's pretty notoriously hands off. Like he's like, here's your budget, here's your deadline, and go make a horror movie. He seems pretty hands off with the creative process. But maybe there was maybe some tinkering from the production side or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
So we get into this very strange second act where Michael has become a mentor to Corey, and
without saying a word.
Nope.
Doesn't need to talk. It's just
no communication. So Michael and Corey invade a doctor's office by happenstance, which is a character we hate. There's no reason for Corey to attack these specific people.
Yeah, there is.
They were just
there is. There's a reason.
What is
because he was talking trash to Allison at the beginning and didn't give her the promotion. So he was mad at her.
Yes.
Or he was mad at him because she was treating him so badly, because he even says, you shouldn't let him talk to you like that. And
okay, cool.
But we're forgetting something even worse. We completely skipped over this. We're not talking about Doug, the 52-year-old cop that Allison got with, that they have this weird interaction with at the beginning, and then they
I put a note. I was like, why does everyone keep calling Allison cute when they're like 40 years older than her?
Yeah, it's
like, why is it miscasting? Because Chelsea and I were very confused because Allison's fallen in love with this random guy. Her ex is like a middle-aged cop, or they just casted a young guy that he looks.
He looks a lot older than way older than her.
Allison is what,
21, 20. Oh, because she's in high school in Halloween 2018. She's like her senior year. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like 22 years old.
Yeah.
Why is she with this old guy?
Well, I mean, we've seen older, the bigger discrepancies in age range for people before, but it felt like she was creeped out by him. Like I totally forgot they dated. I thought this was just a creepy guy being creepy.
Well, that's because that leads into, because we skipped this whole part. So they end up meeting, Allison and Corey end up meeting up at that restaurant. And that's whenever Corey's like really starting to show that like he's changing. And he's like, we need to burn this town down.
Yeah, and she was like, I'll help you, or whatever.
And then Doug comes over, causes this big scene. Then Corey steps up on him, and Doug's like, yo, I don't want none of that. Right. And then she's like, burn the town down. I'll light the match. Then they go all the way back to where Michael is. And then they have that weird 2-on-1 fight with Doug. And Michael gets charged almost like he's a Highlander in a way, because he kills somebody and he gets the power from Doug and it makes him like back to normal Michael. But it doesn't really make any sense, because the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, he's charged up. He got what he wanted. He should just kill Corey.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for him to work with him, but for some reason he sees something in the kid, and then it's
like, you got moxie, kid. You're gonna go places.
Exactly. It's really weird. Like it's very odd. But
all the time the audience is like, what moxie? This is an innocent guy that accidentally killed a 10-year-old a couple of years ago who's victimized. Why is he evil?
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be the town's fault on why this is going on, because Michael disappeared, so they needed a new boogeyman, so they made it into Corey. And that's the thing. But so after all that happens, that's whenever I think he goes over to see Allison. And then he stays the night with Allison. And then that's whenever Lori shows up and Michael is there, but Michael just walks away and disappears and doesn't do anything. I guess he goes back to his tunnel and just waits. And then that's whenever Lori's like, okay, something's really, really wrong with this kid.
She can feel it.
Yeah, because she saw him standing outside, just like Michael did with the hedges.
Oh, I
and
cackled
stuff like that.
so loud when they did that shot,
yeah.
and I laughed so hard.
Yeah, and then he just
that classic reference,
and he pops up behind her as well. But
oh my god, when he pops up behind her, we rewatched that like 6 times. It is hilarious. It is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. He's just standing there, and then he goes, and I think they cut a couple of frames of his motion. They cut 2 or 3 frames of him standing to the side. You often you cut frames for a punch, or a jump scare.
Yep.
They cut frames, so he's there and he goes, he pops up behind her.
There was an egregious amount of red herring jump scares of
there is
blah, oh, it's just me, your friend, blah, it's a cat, like that. I hate those.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping they wouldn't use those devices, but they
did a lot. A lot in this movie.
You got to earn your jump scares, man. You got to earn them.
Yep. You got to make them clever. You can't just throw them out there all the time. I mean, have a couple of bad ones, but at least give me something.
Yeah.
The so through the killing of Doug, Michael and Corey, this kind of transference begins. I don't know, but they just go to a house together. Even if, I don't know how they travel. I don't know.
He rides on the back of the motorcycle.
Or he sprints next to it, maintaining the speed.
Yeah, I wish that was my joke.
Captain America.
Yeah, I wish that was my joke, but it was a Photoshop that I saw, and it just made me laugh so hard.
There's going to be so many Mikey and Corey memes, coming, T-shirt designs and stuff, and I'm actually kind of here for it.
Yeah,
if there's one delightful thing to come out of this movie, it's the dumb, jolly whiz, look at these two scraps going around killing people together,
Yeah. But I promise when they wrote the script, they did not want that kind of thing to happen.
I know,
probably not.
It is it's a dark bonding of true evil, and people are like, this is stupid.
The whole time I was watching, I felt like the movie was timidly asking me to stop laughing at it. Why are you laughing? Stop.
Yeah,
this is serious.
Don't laugh at me.
I'm scary. I'm scaring you.
Man.
So they go and they have the scene in the nice house, and I will say that the only unsettling part of the entire movie is Corey in his scarecrow mask in that intimate position in the dark.
That was they almost started to get to creep factor territory. I was like, oh cool, Corey gets his own mask. Cool, that's not that's a neat touch. But then it doesn't go anywhere really.
Yeah,
that's the part whenever I was sitting and watching, I was like, okay, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe they have something really cool saved for the third act.
Right.
And then, he kills the doctor, which is terrifying. He stabs him. It looks like he stabs him 16 or 17 times. It's brutal. And then the girl sees him. She chases after him, or he chases after her, and then he gets his hand slammed in the door. And then for some reason he unwraps the wrapping that he has on it.
He likes the pain.
I guess that's what they were really going for.
He likes to see the scar, I guess.
And then out comes Papa Mikey to show him hey, this is how you really do stuff. Okay, we're going to pin this woman up on the wall. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, you watching my form? This is how you get it done. This is how you get in, you get out.
Your legs, kid.
Exactly. And that's what it felt like the whole time. It because Michael's just kind of okay, kid, you're rusty. I get it. It's your first time. Let's work through this together. So that happens, and Sean makes a good point about the pinning of the girl into the wall with the knife, about how long the knife would be. Yeah, that's a common thing in Halloween. That happens.
Yeah, I know.
It's happened before.
It's just
multiple times.
I know it's a callback. It's just
I get it.
He's got an 8-inch knife, and it's goes through a body and a painting and the wall.
It's like the Bowie knife from Hot Shots Part 2. It's it's got multiple properties. It can extend. It can got a straw in it.
Remember he pulls it like a chainsaw,
and he cuts through the tree.
Oh man.
Yeah,
but
it's classic.
That happens, and then God, where does it go? Where does it go after that?
I think it gets to the point where Lori kicks him out, and then Allison and her have the falling out or whatever.
No, it goes to
they
it
go
goes
to
the radio tower.
Yes, the radio tower.
Because they have probably one of the worst sets of dialogue I have ever heard.
Is it where they're cuddling on the roof?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. He's I remember wincing at it. I was like, oh no, stop it, please.
He's talking about what he's going through and everything, and she's looking at the hand, which you can now see the wound. And while he's talking, she just goes, "Infected," and then it cuts.
I was like, what?
And I just stared at it, and I was like, okay.
She's a nurse. She should be like, oh, this is infected. We should. I should take care of this.
And she cares about it.
Infected.
But it's allegorical
for him.
Yeah, it's supposed to be metaphor.
Yeah, it's just, and it's.
Are you following along, audience?
Yeah.
We got to spell it out for you.
Apparently,
it's just so rough.
And then he says, I don't want to be immortal and live forever or something like that. Then he falls off the roof.
No one ever brought that up. No one's asking you to.
I know. Yeah.
It's Sean, you got a rash on your neck, and you're just, I never wanted to be.
I didn't want to be a demigod to begin with. I didn't ask for this.
But yeah, that happens.
Man, Sean, you need some cream.
No, it wouldn't even be that. It would just be we would see it and go, cream. and then it would just end. That's it. Like you wouldn't say you need it. It's just
aloe vera.
yeah.
Oh my god. So he does the scene where he falls off, and then of course the DJ's a piece of shit, and he has a problem.
Yeah, I
with
was just
him
like,
too.
oh, we got to throw in another character that hates Corey in here. Let's just throw in the DJ. The town DJ is like, oh, you're that guy that's a piece of shit. Get off my property. I hate you. Everyone hates you.
I think he's talking trash about Corey on the radio at the beginning of the movie too.
I think there's like
I wasn't really paying
something
attention to the radio.
Yeah.
on a rewatch.
Yeah.
There's probably some.
I
stuff
think
there.
I think
I'm
he
not
says
rewatching.
something about Corey while they're on the radio, which is also why he's kind of mad at him at the beginning as well. But that scene is just set up for like, oh, we need a couple of more kills in this for Corey to really kind of drive it
Which,
home.
like, I got what they were going for when he kills the DJ with the tongue on the record, but it felt so weightless. It didn't feel as gnarly as it should have felt, you know?
I mean, it was still pretty
cool.
gnarly.
It was pretty gnarly, but I don't know. It was the way it was shot and cut that it felt very flat, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just like just the wide shot. It's like I don't know. It's just poorly made because, especially after Halloween 2018, because like Halloween 2018 is, despite what I hate about its ending, it's like that is a great movie.
It's great.
That is
They
a
do,
well-shot
like,
movie.
and like I know oneers are kind of like trendy to do, but like the oneer in Halloween was great. I thought that was awesome, and I was like, this is a cool way. This is a different way to show a slasher doing his slasher thing. Like I haven't seen this before. And I was wondering, I was like, so when Halloween Kills happened, I was like, I wonder how they're going to one up that oneer. And they never did.
don't.
They didn't even bother.
Yeah.
Nope.
And they certainly don't even bother in this one. I couldn't tell you how many Steadicam shots were in this movie. I don't think there were any. It felt like everything was locked off on a tripod and just kind of flat and wide or medium angles, you know?
Yeah, like the tongue thing. It's like, there it is. This is an effect that we did. We are talking about the one where he goes into the garage and grabs a hammer, and it's a regular Halloween evening, and it just shows how easy it is.
Yeah, he just goes from play because
Yep.
everyone's dressed up and everything, so they don't think anything of it. And he just walks into people's houses and starts murdering them. I loved that. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because
And
I thought so
it's
too.
what Michael would do. Like that makes
Exactly.
sense.
It is like-
he's been in jail for so long that he's like, okay, I'm mad. It's time to let it out.
Yeah. Okay, so kind of going into going off of just the doctor scene alone, I stopped the movie, and because I was curious, I was like, man, how much movie is left if it's just
almost
starting to get
2
good?
hours long.
Yeah, but at the doctor scene, there's like 27 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah.
I think it was like half an hour left, and I said to Chelsea, I go, what the fuck are they gonna do in 30 minutes? Like, I said, what are they gonna do in 30 minutes?
Nothing.
Like, how are they? Yeah.
Not much.
So
not a whole lot.
And especially knowing what I've seen from the trailers, right? It's like Laurie has to fight Michael. Like, how are they gonna get there? So you have this awkward confrontation scene with Laurie, and I just was so annoyed with Laurie. I don't know what
she
it was.
was really annoying. I didn't put a note for that. It was like I said, weird time jump. Corey living in oddly condemned house where the kid died. Like they just left that mansion. They sold it and it's condemned now.
Yeah,
and then
well,
he's
and
sleeping
watch
there.
the blood?
And then on top of that, Laurie is just chilling there in a chair, like ready to monologue at him. And I yelled at my screen. I was like, "That is the dumbest thing in the whole movie." She's just sitting there waiting for him to wake up from his little nappy poo, and then she's like, "All right, I've got a whole line of dialogue I want to unleash on you. Okay, you ready for this, Corey?"
I thought that was in his
remember-
mind. I thought that he was hallucinating that.
Chelsea,
That actually
Chelsea
makes
thought
a lot
it was
of
a bad
sense.
dream.
Yeah.
I see that as a hallucination that he's trying to build up another reason to hate Laurie.
But then it's real because she ends up like stabbing him, and then everything
Yeah.
happens after that.
Yeah,
It's actually happening.
Chelsea thought it was a nightmare, but like I think it was like, I don't know, when it's like when somebody's clicking their tongue beside you, right?
Yeah.
Or she's tapping the chair against the wall, and I was just like, oh my God, stop tapping the chair, you idiot! Like I don't know. It's supposed to be like threatening or giving her presence, but like I'm just so agitated while I'm watching it. I'm like, shut up, Laurie. And I'm supposed to be all about her, right? But yeah, I think you are right, Grayson. Is that like this is a nightmare? Is this supposed to be read like this? Because Chelsea thought the exact same thing, but it's invalidated in this third act turn where Lori has a falling out with Allison. It
makes no sense.
She goes to kill Corey, and then he's like at the last second, like, haha, guess what? And then he stabs himself in the neck. So Allison walks in and thinks that he frames Lori for his murder, which I rolled my eyes so hard at. I could not handle it. And then, so of course, Allison's like, I can't believe you. Why would you do this? And she runs off. And then Michael's there for a second, I think.
Yeah.
For like a split second.
Yeah. So I want to talk about just the dichotomy.
Hold on, we skipped the junkyard scene.
Yeah.
Well, you skipped.
Which I have a note. I said I'm really jealous of the guy watching Hard Target. I wish I was watching. I was like, I wish I was watching Hard Target.
Me too.
Right now instead.
And they have that awesome upside down pistol scene that he's watching too.
Yeah, Hard Target, and I was just like, oh, I've never seen Hard Target be watched in a movie before. No, I've seen Hard Target
twice in this movie. People watch better movies. It starts with John Carpenter's The Thing,
at the beginning,
and I was like, oh man, what a great movie! And then it's Hard Target. I was like, wow, another great movie that's way better than the one I'm watching right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know this about me, Diction, but like Hard Target, like is probably the movie I've seen. Maybe the most.
I've only ever seen it once, and I want to watch it more times because it's
anytime
great.
you want to come over, I'll watch it together.
Hell yes.
But you have the junkyard scene, so obviously we hate the bullies, the band nerds.
Yeah. But we love the stepdad who owns the
but we do love the stepdad.
I forgot that's how that's how the act ends is he says to Corey, I hope you find love. And I was like, that's stupid, but I like his character for saying that.
I love his character. I love his character because he's the only one that cares about
He's the only one that gives a shit. Yeah.
He's the only one that gives a shit besides Allison. He's the only one that you actually feel like cares about the kid.
Yeah. So we get the kill meat of the movie where Corey can kill these band nerds in honestly, like disappointing ways. If there's anything
that when he revved the truck at them and they immediately start running straight, even though they could duck behind any one of those cars on the line.
It's a Prometheus.
Yeah, I hate it. Yeah, exactly. I was like, we know that this is a bad way to shoot this scene. Why not make it clever and make them like try to hide from him? And he just drives over a car and crushes someone inside of it, or something like that. But no, just drives straight.
It's disappointing because like again, we know what Gordon Green's capable of, and one thing he does almost better than anybody is gore at this point.
He's very good at it. Yeah,
he's incredible at it, and so it's like cool. Thank God, at least we'll get some. If anything, Halloween kills sucked, but we got awesome kills out of it.
Yeah,
right.
The firefighter scene is like legendary. Like, at the very least, we got that sequence, which was great.
So it's like, cool, I get to watch these bad people get killed in horrific ways. So we don't get to watch them die.
No,
like,
not really. They find one person already killed with something through their head.
Yep.
The drummer kid with the mullet.
Yeah, and then the one girl we get she turns and screams and then cut to a different scene or something.
Cut to black. Cool.
And the other girl gets hit by the truck and wrapped in the barbed
She
wire.
gets her head stepped on, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
I laughed and I had to take a note of the line of I forget what the kid says to her, but her response is she looks behind him and goes, "You're dead too," and then he gets like brained by Michael or something. And it was the stupidest. It was like, why would that be your last thing to say to somebody? Why would that ever come across your brain as the last thing to say to your friend before they get killed? It's like, you're dead too, buddy. Like, wah, wah.
He says something pretty stupid before that as well, because the stepdad comes out because the stepdad's trying to figure out what's going on and sees Corey with a mask and is like, yo. And I thought there was going to be like a really, really good scene here.
Yeah, like a heart to heart.
Yeah, between in my head, I was like, okay, you have to show Corey killing his dad because it's the only thing that would make sense that he's gone completely evil.
Exactly. That's the final transition.
Exactly, and that's what I was expecting. But instead, what happens is the jock band kid, I guess, is the best
leader
way
of
to explain.
The
bullies.
The
leader of the bullies says, "Don't worry, I got him," and shoots the dad in the head
by accident. He's aiming at Corey, and then the dad lifts his head up, and he gets the cleanest headshot ever. By the way,
which I guess could be
straight
shown
down the forehead immediately.
Yeah.
Which I guess could be shown as like the dad was sacrificing himself to save Corey.
No,
I guess.
but it was an accident. He looks up like Ella confused, like, what's
Oh, yeah.
going on here?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
So it's both from a full circle for Corey and a way to go out to save your son who you don't understand is psycho. That's two alternative things to a dumb accident that are robbed from the audience.
Yeah.
Not to mention all 4 people die. Besides the head squish girl, which I was like, man, it'd be so sick if he stepped on her face or squeezed the fence through her mouth.
Oh, yeah.
I was
that
hoping he
would've
was
been
going
I
to
was-
slowly drive over it with all the stuff on it
Yeah.
because she's already wrapped up. So I thought he was
Yeah.
just going to slowly drive over it.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna one up that head squish scene from Halloween 2018,
Which is sick.
and do something cool with the fence. And then I'm like, there's nothing better to me in horror than killing somebody with a hammer. Like, that is number one. Like,
Sean loves
like-
Leatherface. Loves it. He got
So
the
it's like-
greatest.
So it's like to cut to black. Like, why is Gordon Green cutting to black on impact?
Or pulling away on a blowtorch to a guy's face that deserves
Yeah,
it.
like that. I was like, I want to see what's happening to him.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And he's just like tilting up the camera to show the reaction. Like, that's not what I want to see. I don't care how she feels. Like,
So, in order to kind of get Diction to where he needs to be,
I can
let's-
go a little bit later. It's fine.
Okay,
we
cool,
can keep
cool.
going. It's fine.
We've obviously skipped over probably the biggest betrayal to the fandom and the franchise and the entire shebang is the taking of the mask from Michael in a clumsy little quarrel before Corey goes on this disappointing rampage through the junkyard. We'll figure out how to get more on track next time we make one of these.
Yeah.
But we're having a good time. So Corey takes Michael's mask. The Shape is defeated by a 22-year-old kid who gets his ass kicked by
Everybody.
band teenagers.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Was that the
what were
wrestling
y'all's
scene?
thoughts?
It was like one stagnant
Yeah.
shot in the sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
He
the one where I was
says-
like, oh, what
Yeah.
a fun little wrestling moment for them.
Yeah.
They're like play fighting.
Yeah.
He literally crawls in because Michael is standing there. He crawls in and says, I need this. And then you hear them scuffling around. And then somehow he manages to throw a guy on the ground that defeated 11 firefighters by himself.
Yeah. I mean, they
Somehow he
insinuate
gets
that
it.
he's weaker at the beginning, but then by this point they've already
Yeah,
killed together,
he's-
and he clearly is like back in shape.
Back.
You know,
He's back to where he
Yeah.
needs to be. So
It's like a bloodlust gave him the musculature again, kind of.
it made me like whenever I saw that, I was like, okay, they're trying to pass the torch, but there's way better ways that they could have done this because this makes a movie that is supposed to be the final time you see Michael and Laurie. It makes Michael look so pathetic that for the rest
Both
of the
of them look
movie,
pathetic
yeah,
for most
yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, but for the rest of the movie, he is not intimidating at all. So every time you
not
see
really,
Michael,
no.
you're just like, oh, there's this guy. It's not.
yeah.
It doesn't give you that payoff that you want from this horrible, scary monster. Now he's just some old dude that's been in a sewer.
Yeah.
That's honestly kind of pathetic.
Scenario: Corey brings Allison to Michael,
ooh,
and Corey cuts her throat in front of Michael, and
prove
Michael
himself to him.
and Michael gives him the mask.
Yeah, that'd been
Oh
fine.
my god!
That would
That'd
be
be
way better than what they
so-
did.
In
I
all
wouldn't think that
honesty-
would be amazing,
Yeah.
but it would still be way better than what actually happened.
And then Michael takes the Scarecrow mask and goes, "Thank you.
And all-
I like this one more."
In all honesty, it shouldn't have been. The issue is, well, and we can go ahead and say this right now. It shouldn't have been a brand new character. Like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too
Corey,
late. It's
Corey,
too late.
yeah, Corey should have been in the beginning.
It's
So if
like
they wanted
it's like
to do that-
introducing a character in the third act of a movie. You don't
Yeah,
do it.
you just don't do
it's
it.
It's like a rule.
Yeah.
You don't do it.
Yeah.
So they
I almost. Oh, go ahead.
they should have just made it Cameron. Like, there was already a love interest there. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
and he's already mad. He's lost his best friend. Like, you could somehow turn it to where, he's just getting picked on because he wasn't brave enough to fight Michael or something like that. Like there's so many other things you could have done, because something that this series has done is they've brought back multiple characters throughout this whole line that he's done. But for some reason, they bring in this new guy and you just don't care because it's the end.
Yeah, we'll talk about kind of fan.
Even without knowing, he's not going to make it to the end. You can just tell. Like,
and that's
they establish that he's going to be a major player in this story, it feels finite. Like he's not going to last.
And that's the other thing that makes it so hard with the scene we're talking about is you have this character who means nothing, just punking out Michael harder than he has ever been punked out in his life. Like,
I mean, if it was Mike, the fact that Michael could have said, "Hey, get back here!" Like
anything,
he could have said that,
grabbed his shoes, made anything.
Yeah. Like Michael's just like, no, like don't take my mask. Like it's just what it does is it makes me, because Gordon Green has to know. He has to know that's a betrayal. He knows that doesn't fly. And the fact that it's in the movie is like, it's almost like you're disappointed in anybody that wrote the script, anybody that was on set that was like, hey, guys, I just want you to know that, like, I mean, that'd be like if the shark from Jaws, like,
roared like
had
a
British
tiger.
accent. Yeah, it's like, or if it'd be like if Rocky started doing cocaine and blow and then got busted with a hooker on Sunset Boulevard and went to prison. Like, and then that's the whole movie, right? Like, it's just such a...
Sounds like a dope Rocky film, honestly.
Yeah, I would watch that Rocky.
I would watch that too, honestly.
Oh God, you bastards! God,
I mean, that's just too good of an analogy. Like, seeing someone be like, "Hey, yo, need me some coke, huh?"
Okay, I can't.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Can't think of anything analogous for an iconic character. It'd be like if Captain America. Was trafficking children. Like,
oh, God.
It's just like,
Jesus.
Can't
Or
think of anything.
joined Hydra like he did, and people flipped out on. So.
Yeah. Okay. God, you're just debunking.
No, I'm not debunking. I'm agreeing. I'm 100% agreeing. Like it's certain things that have been done multiple times that it always has the same outcome. But I think it's just like it's almost like they think it'll refresh.
I think. I almost tweeted that introducing a character like Corey in the third movie, because so many fans were like, "I like it that it tried something new," and it's like. It's like a football player getting to the 1 yard line and then saying, "I'm going to try something new," and then throwing the football out of the back of the end zone, for a touchback, right? And a turnover. It's like, I think I'm just going to like throw the ball out of bounds before scoring a touchdown. Or it's like, hey, this financial decision is going really, really well. I think I'm going to set my cash on fire to try something new.
I'm going to invest in NFTs now. I think that's a good move.
Yeah. It's man, everything's going downhill. I think I'm going to go in on this. So
Corey takes his mask.
Yep. Corey takes his mask and then
he kills the people at the junkyard. Mm-hmm. Then he goes to the radio station, which it has Darcy the Mail Girl from Joe Bob Briggs. She's there. You don't see what happens to her, but she's there. She's like the...
Yeah, she gets killed off camera.
Yeah, she gets killed off camera. Then he kills the DJ. So then this is starting to set up the final part of the movie.
We already talked about, unfortunately.
Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no, but like we really didn't dive into it as much as I want to, because I have a real big issue with how it starts to finish up, because for some reason Lori calls in a suicide, and I don't understand why she does it. She says, "I'm calling in because there's about to be a suicide at her residence."
Yeah.
And it makes no sense on why she would do that.
She knows.
Yeah.
I guess she I was like, cool. She knows that he's in the house.
Yeah.
So
but
she's gonna.
She's tricking him. I think is what they're trying to set up.
Oh, right. And then she's like, "What, you dumbass? What you think? You think I would actually kill myself?"
Yeah.
That's okay. I didn't hear the setup for that. I must have been on my phone taking a note and I did not heard it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
she sets up that she's gonna kill herself, and I'm like, oh my god, character development and self-reflection. This is interesting.
Nope.
I can't believe she's gonna. I was like, oh man, Laurie Strode's gonna kill herself because she holds herself responsible, and it's gonna be up to the daughter. This is great. I can't wait to see her. I can't wait to see her off herself, so her daughter can pick up the mantle and come to her senses because she's acting like a fucking idiot the entire movie. And she shoots a pumpkin. And then she shoots Corey a couple of times.
And he falls.
Yeah.
Same way that the kid fell at the beginning.
Yep. I think, honestly, for purposes of making a really good trailer. I think that's why. I think the trailer wanted to show her kill him. But, all the shit happens with Corey. We already talked about how, Corey frames Laurie for his own murder.
He says it twice in the movie. If I can't have her, no one can.
Yeah.
And then he stabs himself in the throat. Allison walks in, sees it, freaks out, then leaves. And then Laurie...
Did they establish why she showed up there when she did?
I can't remember exactly.
Because it kind of just cut to Corey suddenly like sleeping in this old house, and because he got kicked out of his parents' house or whatever. And
right.
and then Laurie's it just goes right into that scene. So there's no setup for him and Allison having a date night.
I'm glad you brought that up. I remember he kills his mom, his weird mom, that kisses him on the mouth.
Oh yeah, I yelled "What the fuck" really loudly when that happened.
It was very very odd because I think right after
and the dad
junkyard,
watched it happen. He looked at them and he was like, "I hope you find love." Like he did clearly with his mom right there.
So he watches that, and I think right before he gets to Laurie, he kills his mom. I forgot about that. I wanted to talk about that. I'm glad we brought up like what happened, but he kills his mom, and I guess it's because they're trying to be like his mom was super abusive, which might have added into why he had that evil in him. So, anyways, Allison shows up. She gets mad. She leaves. Laurie's sad. Then the ex-sheriff, Will Pattinson, I think his name is.
Will Patton.
Or Will Patton.
Oh, I told Grayson this about Diction. When Will Patton, Sheriff Hawkins, shows up, or retired Sheriff Hawkins shows up in the grocery store, me and Chelsea both thought that it was a different actor wearing prosthetics to look like Will Patton. Chelsea goes, oh my God, they got another actor to wear his face. And we got on, he looked so swollen. And
he is older. He is older now.
He is older. Yeah, but we got on IMDb, bless his heart, to confirm that it was Will Patton and not another actor wearing Will Patton.
Which is another character that is sadly misused in that movie.
Yeah.
Because for some reason they kept him alive after he stabbed in the throat and ran over by a police vehicle in the 2018 version, but whatever.
Yeah.
So you figure they're going to use him, but he's only in the movie for about 3 minutes. So
he's there as Laurie's love interest. They just flirt with each other.
Yep. The whole time.
In like 3 scenes, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
just to kind of show that like Laurie's moved on.
Yeah, they touch on it in Halloween Kills, how he's like, you had a thing for Ben Tramer. And I wanted it to be more, but it never could. So there was always going to be, and I thought they were going to touch on that more in this one to kind of like give him more of a character development, make him really go after like what's going on with the whole Michael incident because he finds it personal. Yeah. Because
involvement besides Laurie to kind of back her up.
And it should be because Michael made him kill his partner at the beginning of Halloween Kills, and he's the reason why Michael's still alive because he stopped Loomis. So I figured at the end of this, they would use his character to really kind of dive into like going after what's going on in this town because something's going on. Like everybody knows this, like something is happening. So Allison runs out screaming, and then the sheriff calls him and is like, hey, we just got a suicide report from Laurie's house. What is going on? She looks up, the tower's on fire from the radio station. And then that somehow keys her in that, wait a minute, I think Corey might have done something. So she turns back around. And then oh my God, this pisses me off. This pisses me off so much.
He's so passionate.
So
I love this.
It makes me so mad because like while I'm watching the film, I'm like, okay, they're bringing Corey in because they're passing the torch. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
They need something else to do. They need Michael to hang it up and put somebody in. Somebody needs to take over the mask. So Michael walks into Laurie's house, walks up to Corey on the ground, and snaps his neck. Dead. So the past hour and a half mean jack shit now. You build up this character, and it means nothing. It's just dead air. Then Michael puts on the mask, and then you have a fight between Laurie and Michael, which in my opinion kind of sucks.
It really sucked.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks. And the main reason I want to watch this movie is because I'm told this is it. This is the final fight between Laurie and Michael.
It was like every like moment that was to be nailed, they already did it in 2018.
They did.
Like that ending where the tables are completely turned and it's an inverse of the original Halloween, and Michael stalking her through the house. It's the inverse of that, and it worked so well, and it was still scary. You were still worried for her, and that felt like an ending to me. I've been saying all day today to on stream, I was saying basically just pretend that Michael does die at the end of 2018 Halloween, and that's the end of it. Yeah, because it's a way more satisfying finale if you think of it that way.
It is. Yeah. It is, and it's so weird because they have this fight. And during it, I'm kind of like, okay, we're probably going to get about a good 10-minute fight. There's going to be a lot of cat and mouse going on. It's really going to go back to the original.
But like I said, Grayson, at the doctor's office, there's only 30 minutes of movie.
Exactly. Like you have nowhere to go.
It's been 25 minutes since then.
So you get this fight, and Laurie pins Michael down, and she slits his throat. Which I will say this. They ain't lying whenever they say he's dead. They did not lie about this, which we're about to get into. So she pins both of his hands down. He rips his hand from the table. Oh no, she drops the refrigerator on his leg, breaks his leg. Yeah. Then he rips his hand out and starts choking him or her. And she shouts, "Just do it," because she has the flashbacks. Then of course Allison runs in. Allison helps out. Breaks the arm. Everything is forgiven. There's no issues. Everything's forgiven. Michael's still alive. Corey is the bad guy, whatever. And
I understand everything that happened with Corey, and you didn't kill him in an instant.
I understand that I wasted your time, and you are right. But then she slits his wrists, or I think she actually goes all the way down.
She does the throat, and then she does the wrist.
Down the freeway. It was one of the most brutal wrist slits I've ever seen.
It was brutal. And
it's
then,
like Bryan Cranston and Drive.
Yeah. It was gnarly. So then the sheriff comes in and sees Michael on the table bleeding out. And he goes, "Is he dead?" And she goes, "Not dead enough." And we get into quite possibly the weirdest fucking scene ever.
I had my note is, "Dear God, the funeral procession with the cars, I cannot." That was my very last note of the whole movie.
Yeah, I think my thought was, what a perfect invalidation of everything that this movie stands for.
Yeah. I want someone to take that and edit it with "Oh Danny Boy" playing over it or something.
Yeah.
It's so silly. It's so silly.
In a movie about the town being evil and moving past trauma and addressing, evil problems, just to watch the idea that the town, to validate the evil with another desecration and parade celebrating.
Also, how did everyone find out this was going on? It was the spur of the moment thing. And then it just everyone's outside of their house oh, we're doing this? Okay, get in your car. Let's all drive down to the dump and crush this body together, I guess.
I think it was supposed to be the fact that the radio station was on fire, and that alerted somebody because that was the town's radio station. So that was how they all got keyed in.
Well, still it would have made more sense if the disc jockey didn't die and he was on the horn being 100%. We're getting rid of Michael once and for all.
100%.
Everyone get in your cars and drive down to this location.
100%.
I just assumed that the cops yelled it over the radio and stuff, and then it's cool. The movie has now educated to me that the entire town hates Laurie, and blames her for Michael.
Yeah.
Why is she a god to them? Why is she on a sacrificial
altar?
altar?
There's a lot of people changing their belief systems within the span of 2 seconds in this movie.
Yeah.
I think it was because like they saw her as the person who brought the problem in, but she was also the person that got rid of the problem. So they're like, okay, all is forgiven. But they go to the, I guess it's just like a gigantic mechanical not wood chipper, but like a car compactor or
I think
something.
they went back to the junkyard.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Because they show that shredder like 2 or 3 times in this movie. They really want you to know this thing's going to get used.
That was the Chekhov shredder of Halloween.
Yes. Yeah. So they put Michael up there, and I kid you not, I was like, please have him wake up and
grab Lori.
I thought that's what was going to happen. I thought that he was going to grab. I thought they were going to pull like a Friday the 13th, and he was going to grab her, and then they were going to like pull or something like that. But nope, they throw him in, and you cannot be more dead.
Yeah, it was a pretty satisfying body crunch.
It is. Yeah. It is. If there is one thing that I would
with a head pop at the end for good measure, it had
the skull cap bounces around for a second and then crushes. It's really good.
If there's one thing I would give this movie is that they did capitalize on saying it was Michael's last one, because God Almighty, you can't be more dead than that. It is what everybody always wanted. You didn't just chop his head off. You mangled him.
Yeah.
He's gone.
And it comes at the dissatisfaction, betrayal of everything
100%.
the movie morally stands for, and you hate the town still.
Oh yeah,
and
you hate everybody.
Characters come out of it unscathed or like clean. They're all painted still, and
you despise everybody in this film at the end, or at least I did. Like I
was just annoyed with everyone.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
and that's something that it carries on from Kills. Like it's the same thing in Kills. You cannot understand, like, especially people who are legacy characters coming back and just being so dumb. Like it is.
They're supposed to be the voice of reason for a younger generation of cast,
and it's just not. And you know, I feel so bad for the Allison character because they built her up so much in 1 and 2, and then they just dropped the ball.
Yeah, they really did.
And it's
strange.
It's sad. So after that, you have that happen. It's weird. Then you see Allison's moving away. She's getting away from everything. And then Lori and the sheriff talk. And then I think Lori says something to the effect that, like, evil has different shapes or something like that. And then it does an homage, or it does the scenes from the first one, and it's just showing it again, and that shows the mask. And then it ends, and Don't Fear the Reaper plays for the second time in the movie.
Yeah. Holy shit! I cackled at Don't Fear the Reaper because it's just like
so overused in movies.
Yeah.
Well, it's used earlier in the movie because whenever the sheriff character and Lori first see each other in the grocery store, it's playing in the store.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It's playing. It's like a really slow
I hadn't
version.
either.
But
it is just, again, it's just like we know how creative this team is. So kind of to wrap on a final note, I guess, is like I immediately went to Twitter because I was like, I can't wait to see people validate this film. And not everybody, but a lot of people were like, I love the character development and and how it was just different. And in 20 years, we're going to be saying that this is a great movie. And
we follow very different people on Twitter. My Twitter was mostly poo-pooing the movie. There were a handful of people that I followed.
I was looking at the hashtag.
It was fine. Oh, you were looking at the hashtags.
Yeah.
I was looking at the hashtag. If I followed anybody that thinks this is good, I'm following the wrong person. But yeah, I was looking at the hashtag, and it was just like, but you know, I've accused Grayson of this for the first movie because we're so at odds because I hate the ending of the first one. Like the first one is only as good as like a 6 or a 7 to me because I hate if they ever come up with a director's cut of the first movie where they show them both die. That is a 10 out of 10 perfect horror film.
They never will.
Right? Yeah, I don't think the studio would allow it. But you know, Grayson loves 2018. He loves Halloween. But like, Diction, what are your thoughts on fandoms, I kind of give like people that like Majora's Mask, this kind of shit. But like, because it's inferior, the tie to the product and the legacy and the nostalgia is so overwhelming that people cannot have an opinion. Not admit that it's bad. I don't want to force opinion on
It's subjective,
anybody.
of course, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
But it's so impossible to look at something without a lens of this is bad, this is horribly paced, this is weird, this is you know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm coming from an outside perspective because I'm not like a fanboy of the series. I've actually only ever seen Halloween 3, which is not even about Michael Myers. It's they tried a whole different anthology,
which
thing.
I love.
And then these 3.
Yeah.
So I've I skipped all the other ones. I know of them, but yeah. So I'm not coming at it as like I'm not coming at it as a fan of horror and slasher genre as a whole. So that's where I hold the standard of quality is like, is it a good slasher movie? Is it a good horror movie? And these ones are not. They're not that, and they're not good Halloween movies either, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
it's really odd to me because a couple of things that I've seen on this movie is a lot of people seem to really zone in on the font to Halloween Ends, because the font to Halloween Ends used the same font as Season of the Witch. So a lot of people compare how weird this movie is to Season of the Witch, which I don't think is fair because Season of the Witch is not affiliated with Michael Myers at all.
Yeah, it's completely removed from the story entirely.
So, like, I don't care. Like, if people love this movie, awesome. I'm glad to have another fan of the Halloween franchise that I can talk movies about. I think it's cool. But my issue is, had they have promoted it differently, I think I would have enjoyed it more. But the fact that I went in expecting the last fight with Michael and Laurie, it's not. It's not Michael and Laurie's story. It's Corey's. It's a story about Corey being turned into the town's boogeyman, which could have been used for the movie after Halloween Ends. It could have been called like Halloween Rebirth or something like that, or something.
Michael does not need to be a living entity for Corey's story to happen.
He doesn't.
Michael needs to be an
what
urban
about
legend,
Halloween
you know?
Corey in the house?
I mean, you know what? Diction, I'm down with it. I'm down with that every step of the way. But it's just one of those things. And I know that there's going to be people that are just like, hey, you know what? I got my Halloween. I saw it in theaters. I'm cool with it. Dope.
Yeah.
It's going to have its defenders no matter what.
Yeah, it will.
And that's whatever. It's fine.
And Halloween Kills does. Halloween 2018's does. Hell, Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, which I have a freaking fleece behind me of. Like, there's defenders of that movie, and it's about a cult that they never even explain. It's just kind of there, kind of not. But, like, it's just one of those things that, like, yeah, you can say it does something different, but it also doesn't deliver what the movie is supposed to be. It doesn't. It really just shits on characters. Bad.
And it also, there's no tension, and it feels weightless. Everything feels completely flat, and like there's no stakes, you know. I was never really afraid for anyone, nor was I really excited to see people get murdered in the movie, which is normally what I go to see a slasher movie for. Is like, I can't wait for that piece of shit to get it, you know, like, and I never got that satisfaction.
And when it does time for them to get murdered, it's like they're not up to standard of what we've already seen with the other movies.
Yeah, a lot of it just kind of happens. There's not a lot of build up. It just kind of like, all right, this person's dead. Like, okay.
I don't know. I don't know if y'all thought about this. If I could just put this in real quick, but I was thinking about this the other day. Do you know how many people Michael kills in this movie?
I think only like 2, right?
Yeah, it's like 2.5 because Corey and him kill Doug,
right,
and then Michael kills the redhead, and then Michael kills Corey, and that's it.
Yeah.
And technically, like, he only gets like an assist for the first one and the last one because Laurie did all the work with the last one. Corey did all the work with the first one. So the bully, like the leader of the bully, is almost tied with Michael for kills. Like, it's very weird. I
think my theory, this is kind of my last thought on it, was that, you know, when Michael snaps Corey's neck, it feels like it's almost like David Gordon Green is like, oh, finally, I can end this.
It was the laziest neck. I think neck snaps are honestly like the worst way to kill someone in a movie. The only neck snap I've ever seen that was viscerally like, whoa, I was shook by it was in the TV show Devs. I don't know if you guys watched that. It's really good. But there, in the first episode, I believe there is a neck snap or pop, I guess, that is visceral. It feels like you can feel it. It's wild. I don't know how he pulled it off, but they fucking did it. But every single one, it's just like crick. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Like,
does the garage door and Scream count? That's pretty.
I mean,
good.
that's okay. Right. Yeah. The one I always go to is Friday the 13th Part 4 because he puts a bone saw to the guy's neck and then he twists his head around.
Yeah.
So that's the one that I always go to. It's like, okay, yeah, y'all wanted that guy dead. So.
Diction, that's good. That's good notes. If we ever do a horror podcast together, we'll do a top 10 neck snaps.
Oh yeah, I think I put that in my notes for the thing or whatever.
Yeah,
kills or kills.
My theory is that Gordon Green was so mad that he didn't get to just make his one Halloween movie that he made schlock with 2 and 3 to spite the studio.
That would be a really interesting perspective if he was like, I wanted just to do this one. I wanted to do a sequel that ignored everything else and was just a true sequel that dealt with Laurie and Michael and all that stuff, and that's all I wanted to do. And then Blumhouse was like, you made us like $300 million, so we need a couple more of these. But
and he was like, I don't fucking care. I'm gonna fuck with you guys.
Yeah. But then that would be rude to Jamie Lee Curtis, who like seems genuinely enthusiastic about these movies.
I know.
And that would be a fucked up thing to do to her and make her look stupid.
It would be.
You know.
I will say it is pretty wild that even she came out and was like, fans are gonna hate this movie. like it is pretty wild to see stuff like that. But I don't know, man. It's weird because. Man, I almost kind of like Rob Zombie's Halloween better than this. Like, and that is hard for me to say.
I don't even remember what happens when he finally is grown up, Michael Myers, in that movie, because it takes so long to get there.
It does.
It's like like the third act. He's finally Michael Myers.
It's just a rehash of one.
Yeah.
At that point.
But at least with Rob Zombie's Halloween, you get a beginning, middle, and end of a movie,
and you have an intimidated Michael. Because I will say this: like the dude that plays Michael is scary in that movie.
Yeah,
I agree.
But okay, we'll wrap it there. Thanks, guys. Diction, you're the man. Make sure and go to twitch.tv/Diction and twitter.com/Diction. Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Go follow Diction. We'll have him on for many more. Grayson, I'm sorry about how the movie went.
Yeah. I got to see a Halloween movie in theaters. I saw it in theaters. I got to see all 3 in theaters. It was cool. Like,
yeah, and we both know you're going to watch it many more times.
I mean, I've already watched it twice, so.
Oh, my God.
I watched Halloween Kills 6 times, so.
Oh, God.
Wouldn't be me.
Speaking of things to watch 6 times, if you like horror, make sure and check out last week's episode with Roy Lee. He's responsible for just about the entire resurgence and existence of horror since 2006 because he brought over all the Japanese imports and some of the best horror movies of the past 20 years, including The Strangers, The Ring, Barbarian. It's an awesome episode, and I want to get the views up on it, so click that now. Besides that, thanks for watching Hang Time Podcast, and you guys have an awesome, awesome evening or day, whenever the hell you're watching this. Bye-bye. Okay, so Grayson, you'll hit stop on Audacity, just the stop button.